Presented by WMTY 98.3 FM and WDEH AM 800. Tonight's forum is brought to you in part by Archer's Total Home Healthcare, Fairweather Financial, Paramount Insurance, Self-Defense Solutions, Valley Insurance, Volunteer Federal Bank. Now let's go live to the studios of WMTY and WDEH. Here is Brian Birchfield and Tommy Millsaps.
Good evening, and indeed welcome live to the studios of WMTY and WDEH for tonight's forum. We're doing a series of forums this week. Tonight it will be the candidates for county commission in the 1st District here in Monroe County, the candidates that are on the primary ballot. And then Thursday evening at 6, we will have candidates for sheriff that are on the primary ballot. And then following that forum at 7 o'clock on Thursday, candidates in the county mayor race that are on a primary ballot. I'm Brian Birchfield, joined along by Tommy Millsaps tonight, co-moderator. Of course, Tommy spent many, many years in print media here covering Monroe County, covering politics. And so he's well-versed in these different races, covered a lot of politics, Tommy, and so we pick it back up tonight and looking to have a little fun.
Great to be here, Brian. I appreciate the candidates coming out, taking their time and their willingness to serve the community.
Tonight, we want to thank our sponsors who have made this forum possible: Archer's Total Home Healthcare, Fairweather Financial, Paramount Insurance Services, Self-Defense Solutions, Valley Insurance, and Volunteer Federal Bank. Thank you to our sponsors. As I said, tonight is the candidates for the 1st District Monroe County Commission in the primary race. Early voting begins April the 13th, so just in a few days you will be able to go to the polls and vote for these individuals. Now, tonight we have 6 candidates who are running in the Republican primary. You will vote for 3 if you vote Republican for them to move on to the general election in August. And then we have one candidate tonight, Mr. Danny Isbell, that is the lone Democrat running in the primary. He will move on to the general election as well. Tonight, and what we did, just so we were fair, we had each candidate draw a number for their seat tonight. So I want to introduce the candidates for the seat number they drew. In seat number 1, we have Joe Anderson. Seat number 2, we have Chase Nipper. Seat 3, Travis Wade. Seat 4, Danny Isbell. Seat 5, Adam Reynolds. Seat 6, DJ Seiler. And Seat 7, Luke Bright. The rules tonight, the rules are there are not many rules. This is a forum. I told the guys this is a forum. This is not a debate, so they are not going to be going back and forth with each other. They are going to be addressing Tommy and I as voters and questions that we will be posing to them. Each candidate will answer all the same questions. We'll go down the line. Each time permitting, we'll try our best to let each candidate lead off a question. We'll see how that goes. If Tommy or I deem that there needs to be a rebuttal from a particular candidate, by our discretion, we'll allow that. But whatever time we give that particular candidate, we'll also, throughout the evening, the course of tonight's forum, give everybody that same amount of time. Now, when we ask a question tonight, we've told the candidates, we will tell them how much time they have to answer. Amanda Birchfield, our timekeeper tonight, she will be timing. And when the candidates have 10 seconds left on their time, she will hold up her hand. When you hear the bell, they are to stop talking, even if they are in mid-sentence. Okay, we all good, gentlemen? We ready to go? All right, right out of the gate, throw you a softball. And, Joe, we will start with you in seat number 1. Take 30 seconds and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Joe Anderson. I'm from Sweetwater, Tennessee. Lived here for basically all my life, and currently work at Sweetwater Hospital. Been there 32 years. I'm the Chief Executive Resource and Development Officer there. And it's a pleasure to have served for the last 4 years as a candidate that won from an incumbent, which was very surprising like the last time. So it's been a pleasure serving the community and serving Monroe County.
Mr. Chase Nipper.
Hello, my name is Chase Nipper, lifelong Monroe County as well. I've been in public service my entire life, spent 8 years in law enforcement, finished my degree, and now work as a contractor at the Department of Energy. I'm excited to get the opportunity to run for this office, and would support, love your support and continued prayers for all of us as we strive to serve our county. We thank you for all the time that you give us and for listening tonight, taking time out of your busy schedules as well.
Travis Wade.
I'm Travis Wade, born and raised here in Sweetwater. Paramedic from Monroe County. Worked there since 2004, right out of high school. Realtor now. Just want to see some good changes, good developing, and being a commissioner. And
All right. Now, Danny Isbell.
I'm Danny Isbell. I was born and raised over in Madisonville. I'm sorry, I'm from the other side of the ridge. But I graduated from Madisonville High School, Tennessee Wesleyan College with a degree in education and government. Worked for the last 35 years with the Tennessee Department of Corrections, Board of Probation and Parole, having retired there 4 years ago. Look forward to accountability in our government.
All right, our next candidate, Adam Reynolds.
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. I am Adam Reynolds. I am currently elected to the position of Commissioner here for the 1st District. Born and raised here in Sweetwater. I'm raising my family here in Sweetwater, and really that's the reason that I'm in public office. I want to see those changes that we make today impact for those future generations. I've spent about a decade now in bank management and just enjoy the opportunity to serve my community. Thank you.
Taking 30 seconds for our candidates tonight to introduce themselves. Our next candidate, DJ Seiler.
Yes, I'm DJ Seiler. Thank you again for having this forum for all of us tonight. I'm a retired firefighter paramedic, 31 years in the industry. Also spent a lot of time in government and public administration. I believe since I've retired, I wanted to get active in my community and do the best I could. I'm not a native here, but I chose to be here, and I want to make it better and better for my children.
All right, and our final candidate to this end, we got Luke Bright.
My name is Luke Bright, and I was born here at East Sweetwater and lived on the county farm in the Fort Creek community. And I'm retired from the state. I was a criminal investigator for the state fire marshal's office. And I was chief deputy under 2 sheriffs. And the reason that I run is because of the 2 tax increases we had last 2 years.
Okay. All right, and I want to remind folks, if you're listening in or you're watching on Facebook, of course, you listen both on WMTY 98.3 FM and WDEH AM 800 in Sweetwater, Tennessee. You can also listen online, streaming online at mytrueoldies.com or WDEHradio.com. And, of course, you can go on our Oldies 98.3 Facebook page right now and see live video. Now we are moving on for our real first question, and I'll let Tommy lead off this question, and Chase Nipper will lead this with the answering.
What are the top issues that you believe are facing Monroe County? Obviously, this is a tough job that you've chosen to run for. What prompted you, and what are the top issues you see going forward?
And you got 2 minutes.
Excellent question. Thank you. So 8 years of law enforcement service, both the Sheriff's Office and Sweetwater City, had an opportunity to see how public offices work themselves out in the county. What I often saw from the past and sometimes even in the present were good people who were qualified that were relieved their duties for political reasons. This causes the county to lose money. This causes us to fail to retain talent, people who are intelligent and capable of doing the job that we're hired to do. We can move forward with civil service. I think that is paramount. Budgets are a major issue. Well, how much money do we lose when we have brain drain? How much money do we lose when people leave Monroe County or are downsized for political reasons? It wasn't many years ago that the county paid a settlement to county workers who won in court and demonstrated that they were fired for political reasons. We can help mitigate that with civil service. I think most people understand that civil service helps provide a network of candidates that are qualified and prepared to do the job. My next top priority would be access of internet, high-speed, high-quality internet throughout the county. During the COVID pandemic, many of our students were forced to learn online. However, we saw that a number of them had no access to online education. Why? failure to have access to quality internet service. That is really becoming a staple in every community. Not only does it help our families and help our friends, our neighbors, but it also opens us up economically. We have economic corridors running through the county. We have Red Stag moving in. They rely on fiber networks to run their businesses as we continue to transition, and have transitioned in many ways, our economy to e-commerce. I want to continue to see us move down that path. There are ways to do this without raising taxes. We can work with CTAS. We can work with the federal government to get grants that would help assist us with private partners in expanding fiber connectivity throughout the county. So I'd like to see those things get done. I'd love to see your support.
Travis Wade will be our next on this question, and it's the issues you see facing Monroe County.
I see some of the top issues that personally what I see in family and friends is just the spending of tax dollars, spreading money around where it needs to be. Also, I'm right there with Chase about, as a public servant, I've been in here since 2004 as a EMT or a paramedic, and, we lose a lot of people, and I would just like to see county commissioners right there in the dirt with them, seeing what's going on, understanding where the spending's going, why we need raises, why they need money put in different situations. I think you can do that without raising taxes, to be honest. I think if you look at your personal budget and you have so much coming in, you think I need to cut spending in other areas to make what's important, where we need to put money at. So I think that's something really big to me is EMS, fire, and police, and the kids and our school systems and stuff like that. And, if we could just figure out how to arrange our spending situations.
Okay. Danny Isbell, issues you see facing Monroe County.
Well, first of all, accountability. I said earlier about that. Anytime we have a situation that comes up, we should be accountable for what our actions, what we do, what has been done. A quick example is the Justice Center that was built where there was a problem within the building of that building, and it was an architect's problem, but Monroe County wound up paying the money for that problem instead of the other way around. Instead of the architectural people being the ones that made the problem, they should have corrected the problem. Also, education. We have to get and keep qualified teachers, qualified administrators, and we have got to set it up some way, and I don't have the answer to it, but some way to keep Nashville and Washington off our teachers' backs to where they can do their job, that is, teach. If we don't teach our kids what they need to know, then, folks, our whole system is going to go down the drain. That's the two biggest issues I see right now.
Okay, thank you. Adam Reynolds, top issues you see facing Monroe County. You get 2 minutes.
Sure. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that question. As I said in my introductory remarks, the core reason that I chose to run for political office and public office was for those future generations. And so a couple of those issues that have already been touched on here is why I do this job. Taxpayer spending is the largest concern for this county. It's interesting when you look at the revenue that's coming in for this county versus those in surrounding areas. Our revenue outpaces those of comparable counties that surround us, yet our expenditures are right there with that revenue. So that's been an issue. It's been an issue that we've struggled with for a number of years now, but the spending, budgeting is a chief issue, and one that I continue to try to fight that issue each year. I think one of my opponents down through here had mentioned, a brain drain. Well, there's a brain drain too on the community, and the lack of resources for jobs, high quality, good paying jobs for individuals in this community. I'm fortunate to serve on the Niles Ferry Industrial Board, which helps recruit industries to Monroe County, and that's a passion of mine because, like so many of my classmates, they had to leave Monroe County to find that next career or that job that would support a family in this area. And then children, that's my chief priority. I do have a family. I do have 2 small children, and the school is a big issue. So that's something, you know, the school budget's a little over $55 million. Far surpasses that of the county's budget. And there is a lot of room for improvement there. There's a lot of room for improvements to the curriculum. And I think that starts from a budget. 90% of what we do as a commissioner is budgetary related.
All right, thank you. DJ Seiler, you got 2 minutes.
Thank you for the time. So many issues, 2 minutes will hardly cover it. I agree with a lot of what's been said right now. But some of the troubling things I saw when I came in here and started looking at the job was that there's no real strategic planning here. With 5-year, 10-year plans, we don't do any of those kind of things around here. You know, we talk about the jail and the problems that happened there. We knew the old jail was falling apart for years, and yet we didn't plan for its succession. We wait until it's absolutely needed, then we built the thing. We overpaid for it. There were problems in construction. And, you know, it could have been done better. Had we planned along, there would have been no increase. We could have budgeted better. We could have put money aside and paid, you know, cash for the building versus going more into debt. When you talk about debt, $1,700 per capita is the debt on our average residence right now. $1,700 per capita. You know, that's $72 million in debt we are. We're talking about, they had budget last night, and they're talking about increase in road cost of almost $2 million, in, you know, for petroleum products that have gone up and things like that. But yet we have $72 million in debt. I mean, we're not going to get anywhere if we don't get this debt under control and get some of those things handled. I think we need commissioners that can spend some time in the trenches and looking at these issues and dive deep into these issues as we look at the budget and look at funding. Some other things we need to address is our emergency services. As we discussed before, we don't have enough deputies on the road. We don't have enough ambulances on the road. We don't have enough dispatchers to dispatch the calls. Call volume's gone up in each of the departments, yet we don't have enough dispatchers to handle those calls. We need to solve these problems. And some other things, you know, we talk about Red Stag coming in. They're going to bring 3,500 jobs. We have 40 homes available in this area. Where are these people going to go? We need to provide opportunity.
Thank you, Luke Bright. What are the top issues you see facing Monroe County? You got 2 minutes.
The budget is the number one issue, and the spending is out of control in most of the departments in this county. And I can tell you one instance. The Sheriff's Department has started at $4 million, now it's $8 million, and they're asking for close to $9 million this year. And we don't have the money to support that unless we start raising taxes again. And the reason that I run is because of the two tax increases, the wheel tax and the 26-cent property tax. And that was what motivated me to run. And then now they say that I'm too conservative, but the taxpayers' money is what I'm trying to take care of. And I try to make everybody understand that you can't just keep throwing money at the problem. You've got to address the problem. We can't spend more money than we take in. And that's our biggest problem right now in the county.
All right, thank you, Luke. And now we'll wrap back around to seat number 1, Joe Anderson, to wrap up this question. Top issues you see facing Monroe County. You got 2 minutes.
I have to agree with Luke on this and all the comments that have been said. There's so many issues that you can't fit it in within 2 minutes. But the primary, our job as a commissioner is the budget. 90% of what we do is budget. And a lot of the statutes that we have to deal with are state mandated, which control part of our budgets. And a lot of people don't understand why we have to do the things that we do as commissioners. It is state mandated, and you see the raises for sheriffs, and you see the raises for the mayors and different departments. All of that is state mandated. Going back to the issues at hand, infrastructure, we looked at the budget the first time last night, and we're $2.5 million in the negative for the roads. And we're looking at that, and we're looking at inflation issues. We're looking at staffing issues across the board. We've talked about, the unemployment rate is fairly low. There is some high-paying jobs due to the low staffing issues across the board in every industry. So we're looking at a lot of different things in education. There's buildings and structures that's going to have to be taken care of in the future, and that's one of the big issues that we got as far as a strategic plan. That would be one of the things that we're going to have to look at. I mean, there's many things that we're going to have to consider as we look at this budget this year globally all together at one, and see what needs to be done in a strategic manner rather than just shotgunning, okay, let's make a raise here and do this. So it's going to be a concerted effort this year and very focused on the budget.
Joe, thank you, and remind our listeners, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to a political forum here simulcast on WMTY and WDEH. You can also watch on Facebook right now on the Oldies 98.3 Facebook page. It's forum with the 1st District Monroe County Commission candidates running in the primary, 6 Republicans, 1 Democrat. The 6 Republicans, you will vote for 3 if you vote on the Republican ballot come early voting starts April the 13th, goes through April the 28th, and then Election Day is on May 3rd. And, of course, the lone Democrat, he will go through to the general election unopposed on the primary ballot. So we're glad you're tuned our way tonight. Again, thank our sponsors, Archer's Total Home Health Care, Fairweather Financial, Paramount Insurance, Self-Defense Solutions, Valley Insurance, and Volunteer Federal Bank. I'm Brian Birchfield, joined along with Tommy Millsaps, our co-moderator tonight. We've got Fargo running master controls. We got Mark Latham doing our camera work for us, and we've got my sister Amanda Birchfield being our timekeeper. Appreciate all of our help and appreciate the candidates for being here. We went through and listened to all of you talk about the top issues you see facing Monroe County. And I'm shooting from the cuff here, guys. I told you I was going to do this. So most of you all mentioned budgeting. You mentioned spending. Sometimes it's hard, and I've never served in public office, but I'm sure sometimes it's hard. You get in there, and you've got these decisions to make, and you've also got that on one hand, you're going to make somebody mad. One thing I want to hear, do you have the wherewithal to make the hard decisions, knowing that you're going to upset some group of people no matter what decision you make? And then we also want to talk about, in a home budget, if you're in debt, and of course, at my house, if I'm spending's getting out of whack, I've either got to raise revenue or I've got to cut spending. Maybe a combination of both of them. But I want to hear your philosophy. You talked about budgeting, but and I guess I'll start with that part of the question first. Which is it? And Travis Wade, you get to lead this off, and we'll give you a minute to talk about budgeting. Is it cut or raise revenue, meaning taxes? You got a minute.
I would say, there are places I look at. I mean, I've never sat on a board like these guys have as far as big, huge budgets. I look at my own personal life and spending and buying houses and flipping. There's always a budget to everything in life, and sometimes you just got to move the money somewhere else, and sometimes you do have to cut the spending. And, it's unfortunate to some situations, but, you can't go under by spending and, giving all this money to one certain subject or one certain place. So, a lot of it, if it needed to be cut, that's just something I believe in that I've done in my own personal life, and you don't ever want to see a job cut anywhere, but I would like to, see more businesses bringing in more money for sure, that we could rearrange whatever money we have.
And I'll follow up, just real quick, 30 seconds. If elected, would you have the ability to make hard decisions even though it might make someone upset?
Absolutely. In the last 4 or 5 years, I've made some really tough decisions with friends, family, and as far as business, even being on an ambulance or in healthcare. You've got to make some really tough decisions, and, I hate that that's the way it goes, but yes, I could.
All right, Danny, we'll go to you. And Danny, we'll first start with I know it's kind of a two-part question, so I'll hit that question again for you. Budgeting, is it right now the situation the county's in, is it raise revenue or are things going to have to be cut?
At this point, you need to go back and look at where you can cut. I don't think there's a department in the county that would not be able to cut some money. Hopefully no jobs. I don't want anybody to lose their jobs. But we have to make tough decisions, and if you have to cut, you have to cut, and we have to deal with it.
Okay, and then I'll follow that up, and you've got 30 seconds. If elected, are you going to have the ability to make those hard decisions if it is cuts, even though that might make your neighbor upset?
Yes.
Okay, you didn't need 30 seconds. All right. Adam Reynolds, talk budgeting. Is it raising revenue or cut spending?
In our current situation, Brian, it's cut spending. And probably the best thing that I ever did was we televised the budget meetings. You can go back last year, the year before. Every year we budget with an increase, or tend to budget with an increase with every department, yet every department only spends 85 to 88% of their budgeted amounts. And so from a banker, if we're budgeting and we only spend 85%, why are we increasing that budget every year to the 100% or 110% increase with the cost of inflation? It is a revenue issue as well. One of the reasons for the tax increases was 8 years without revenue. And every one of us that are in a profession expect a cost of living adjustment each year with the cost of inflation, cost of goods, products, services to go up. So that's an expectation as well. Now, not at the same knee-jerk reaction that the board did at that time, but a slow, strategic plan with small increases over time is necessary.
All right, and then follow up the 30-second. Of course, you're an incumbent. You've been there. But are you willing to make decisions? You said cutting is what needs to happen. Are you willing to cut things, even though that's going to make your neighbor or somebody you know upset at you?
Yes, Brian, I am and I have. I was one of the lone voters against the radio system. It was a $4 million expense for the county, and it's costing us over $700,000 annually for those expense payments on that. $4 million up front and $700,000 for the next 10 or 15 years. I voted against that. I didn't feel it was the county's business to be in the radio business to supply that to other agencies, and that was a very tough decision. But we didn't have $4 million, and we sure don't have $700,000 each year.
All right, DJ Seiler, we're to you now, talking budgeting. County in a situation now, is it cut spending or raise revenue?
Certainly it's cut spending, but I think what we need to do is take that conservative approach to it and look at what government's responsibility is. Government is responsible for essential services first and foremost. You know, we need sheriffs, we need ambulances, we need water, we need roads, we need schools. We need to teach our young children, we need to, have access to quality health care, we need to have access to sheriffs and people to keep us safe in our homes and in the streets. So what we need to do is look at the budget and look at those areas that don't encompass those essential services. Those are areas we need to look at cutting first. We need to look at some of those departments and see what we can do to lean those up. We need to look at nonprofit dollars that are out there and look at those and where they're going to best serve the majority of people in our community. We really need to take that approach and get back to what our responsibility is as county commissioners.
And again, the follow-up, and again, those listening and watching, I'm not asking this question to lead to say, we don't want any of these guys going into office looking to make people mad. But being in public office requires hard decisions. That's why you're there. And again, we know you cannot please everyone, and somebody's feelings are going to get hurt if that's something they're particularly fond of. So, DJ, are you willing to make those hard decisions that might cause some hurt feelings towards you for voting a certain way?
That's why I'm running for office. My job is to look at all the facts, make the best decisions for the most people, and to do what's needed to be done. I'm a father of a 5-year-old. Half of the words out of my mouth are no. So I'm used to saying no for new toys, new this, new that. No different when we get on the commission. I just probably upset some people when I said we've got nonprofits out there. I'm not singling anyone out now, but we certainly need to look at some things, and I will make those tough decisions.
All right. Luke Bright, budgeting. Is it raise revenue or cut taxes? Where are we at?
We've got to cut taxes. We've got to cut these budgets. That's the reason that I run 2 years ago, because we had the property tax, 26 cents, and then we had the wheel tax double from $25 to $50. And we have got to stop spending. You cannot spend more money than you take in and survive. And at this time, we're so far in debt, and we still make bad decisions. There was $3,500,000 that was surplus. And so what we did, instead of paying it on the debt, we pushed it over and made another big government for a building fund. And that's where all our money's going. And we've got to pay the debt down. And we can't raise no more taxes, period.
We come down to Joe Anderson to continuing this question. We started with Travis, so we get these two guys here on the front end to cover this question with. Budgeting, we're in a situation now of cutting or raising more revenue somewhere?
It's going to be a mixture of both. I mean, to be honest, I'm just going to be simply honest with you. I mean, we're looking at since last February of last year, inflation rates of 6.4%. So we have to make that up in some way. So there is some cutting. He talked about the 15% that the departments get back. That would be another area of cutting. But as far as the state mandates go, there is maintenance of efforts, and that is regulated by state statute. And once that is set in perpetuity, you can't cut that. So you'll have to look at different department expenses and look at how they're structured and how they're operating. And this is going to be one of the toughest years that we probably ever looked at a budget. So it's going to take some real skill this year of all the commissioners working together to cut those expenses out in order not to have a tax increase.
And just to follow up 30 seconds, are you willing to make those hard decisions that might cause some hard feelings with people your neighbors and in the community?
Yes, I've made some hard stands as a commissioner and had a parking lot full of people meeting me, taking a stance against something that's very, very precious to every person that has animals, and it was excessive, and it needed to be displaced to a nonprofit, not to the county and all the citizens in Monroe County. So. That's, yes, I can make hard decisions.
All right, Chase Nipper, to wrap up this question, talking about budgeting. Is it a situation of increasing revenue somehow or making cuts?
Excellent question. Thank you. So it comes down to process improvement. We have various county departments. We can look in each department and look for efficiency. Where are we wasting money? Where are we losing time? How can processes be improved to reduce overhead? Candidates have discussed budget returns. So that's one area already. In addition to that, we have the process improvement. We see this throughout industry constantly. You always want to reduce your costs, but maximize what you can deliver. We can do that as a government. If the private sector can do it, we can do it. And we're representing the people to get that done. So that would be my main concern. How do we increase efficiency? How do we improve processes? How do we review policies and procedures countywide and help guide that direction and get us on a trajectory to success? That's what we want to get done. And we can do that through strategic planning, long-term strategy, and continue to move down a road that sets up future generations for financial success in this county.
All right, Chase, and then follow up with that, 30 seconds. If elected, are you willing to make those decisions that are going undoubtedly make someone upset when you start trying to cut things?
Yeah, it was the great G.K. Chesterton that said, wrong is wrong, even if everyone thinks this is the way to go. And right is right, even if everyone's wrong about it. So we can put that to ourselves and be strong leaders. We're being elected to represent the people and to make those hard decisions with the best interests of everyone in mind. Sometimes that means people are going to be upset with you. But I was told very early on in life that you can't please everyone. Do the best you can. Make a decision that's going to bring the most good to the most people and continue to move forward and keep the county business ahead.
Thank you, gentlemen, and remind our listeners you're listening to Political Forum right here on WMTY and WDEH. We have the candidates for Monroe County 1st District County Commission that are running in the primary, and glad they're all here tonight. And now we turn to Tommy Millsaps. We've got a couple questions here. It's going to touch on kind of some things we've already talked about, but these are simple yes or no questions. Okay? So, Tommy, have at it.
I believe Danny's up next.
Danny's up next, yes.
Okay, and I might combine these two. It might be, as Brian said, you kind of touched on it, but within the next couple of years, obviously it's a tough budget year, and could you see yourself supporting a tax increase? I'm sure that, property or will tax. Do you see yourself being able to support that in the next couple of years if that's what it came down to?
Simply yes or no?
Simply yes or no.
No.
All right. Move right down the line. Adam Reynolds.
No.
DJ?
Absolutely not.
Luke Bright?
No.
Okay, we'll go back. Joe Anderson? Do you support, go ahead and say that one more time because we went halfway through. Go ahead.
Sure. Do you see yourself in the next couple of years, if it came down to it, being able to support a tax increase? That could be property or will tax.
I can't lie. I mean, I have to say yes because we are fiduciaries of the Monroe County, and we have to look at that very closely. And we don't know what the next 4 years is going to hold for us.
Okay. Chase Nipper?
No.
Travis Wade?
No.
Okay. And so let me check our time. I'll ask one more question, and then we will take a intermission for our sponsors after we get through this next question. So there's a combination. Most everybody says the budget needs to be cut in some way. Now, some of you, 3 of you are incumbents, so you see some of the things and see what the money levels are. If you're running, I'm hope that you've done some type of homework and studied and looked and see where some of the money's going in this county to prepare yourself if elected. So to really nail things down here, if everybody here sitting thinks that the budget's going to need to be cut in some way, I want to hear about 2 or 3 of those areas that you think that there's room to cut and it needs to be cut. And so we're going to start with Adam, and I'm going to give you 1 minute.
Sure. Thank you, Brian. It's a concerted effort across the board. There's not one particular office. I would venture to say that every elected, and I will say every elected official does a fantastic job managing that budget. The process lies in the budget process itself. When we continue to budget for a department and yet they're only spending 85% of that revenue, we budget back at 100% and then add an increase for this year. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. And I've said that year over year over year. If we're spending 85%, let's cut it back down to 85%. That's a 15% cut across the board. So there's not one particular department that I can single out. Every department manages those funds as if it was their own pocketbook. It's just in the budget process on the front side when we allocate that money to each individual department. But there's not one area that I can say would take a cut over another. It's a concerted effort across the board.
All right, thank you. DJ Seiler?
I think Adam said it very well. I think bottom line is every department needs to be evaluated. Again, as I said before, I think we need to go back to essential services first. Look at those, make sure those are well funded, well in place, and what they need to be. After that, we need to prioritize all the other departments, and we need to look at that. As he said, with 85% funding, this year, those departments turned back $3 million, but then came back and looked for new requests and new money. Some of those being the maintenance of effort departments. So you cannot cut their funding. So they've given you back money. You can't cut their money, but now they want more money. So, those things need to be looked at, and we need to address those and look at all the departments.
All right, Luke Bright?
Well, you look at all the departments, in the county today, and you have most of the departments goes up 8 to 10% over the last 8 years. The sheriff's department has went up $4 million, and that is what's draining us dry now is the spending in the sheriff's department, and it's got to stop. I mean, we spend, but we don't put the services out, and we need a manager in the sheriff's department that can manage a budget and cut all these places, and it's out of control. I mean, when you have 100% in 8 years, it's out of control.
Okay. We're right back around to the front. Joe Anderson, is there some particular areas, talking about everybody's mentioned budget cuts, particular areas that you see that the areas could be cut? 1 minute.
Budget cuts they're very difficult to look at as far as you try to get into the budget, and you look at different departments and you look at what they've given back, and we talk about the 15% that gets given back back every year. That goes back into the fund, and so we are mandated by the state to have a certain fund balance, or the comptroller is going to be visiting the county commissioners and making decisions for the county instead of the county commission. So we have to be careful of how we watch those things of fund balances, whereas looking at the budget last night, we're at negative 4% for the road superintendent's budget. I mean, there is cuts, and the biggest thing is management, and the management of each department is key.
Chase Nipper, any areas that you see that could be cut?
So definitely it's a difficult process. We have essential services that the county must provide. We have law enforcement, we have EMS, we have roadways, so all of our infrastructure working together. However, like many candidates and incumbents have already stated, we're looking at budgets that are returning 15%. So right across the board, as others have said, we can cut and look at that. But I also want to return to what I said earlier, process improvement. Something as simple, for example, in my industry, looking at paperwork that was being turned in. I had a team of 6 under me putting in 80 sheets of paper a day. I calculated it came out like $40,000 a year. Simple fix. We digitized everything. Now we've saved $40,000 annually in paper costs by pushing it to a digital format. So what can we do in the county to improve services in such a manner while working with our department heads, collaborating with them to brainstorm ideas and then implement them? I think all of us agree, if it's a solution that puts the county first, we're going to do it.
Travis Wade, some areas that you see that could be possibly cut to help the Monroe County budget, and you got 1 minute.
I can't think of any specific office that I would say let's go cut, but if we've already raised our taxes, we've raised our wheel taxes, and they say we're putting money back into our general fund or whatever, I think there's somehow that somebody needs to be watching every dollar, and I'm not saying go cut anybody out of an office, but if that money's there, it ought to be somewheres that we could, make sure this money's going, especially where it needs to go, especially essential services. I mean, you should never go without a fire, EMS, police ever, no matter what. And I think that money, shouldn't be around that, but not cut from essential services. So.
All right, thank you, and we'll wrap this up. Danny Isbell?
I guess I get the last word on it.
Yes.
I think, again, we should sit down with each department head and say, give us a 5% cut, period, and go from there.
Okay. All right, that wraps that up, and that brings us to a break here. And we are going to step away and take a commercial break for our sponsors who have made this forum possible tonight, as you're listening to a political forum here on WMTY and WDEH, 1st District Monroe County Commission candidates in the primary. Glad you have tuned our way. We'll now step away for that time out and hear from our sponsors, and we'll come back with more right after this.
Bad hair day? Bad day at the office? Bad day behind the wheel? Hey, stuff happens, even to the best of us. At least your car insurance rate doesn't have to take a hit. Get Erie Rate Lock from Erie Insurance. Gives you a great rate that stays put until you change a car, driver, or your address. Plus, seriously good service. Now that's something to smile about.
Your local Erie agent in Sweetwater is Valley Insurance. Get a quote at valleyinsuranceservice.com or call 423-337-7777.
Erie Rate Lock does not guarantee continued insurance coverage and is not available in all states.
Hi, this is Jim Fairweather. I'm the owner and founder of Fairweather Financial right here in Monroe County. The financial services industry is constantly in motion. One day your advisor is here, the next day somewhere else. If your financial advisor has recently changed companies, retired, or just left the business, I invite you to let Fairweather Financial have an opportunity to earn your trust. As an independent wealth manager, I don't have any quotas to meet, nor sales contests to compete in. I work for only you, my valued client. I invite you today to give us a call at 423-337-6565 or check us out on the web. Just Google Fairweather Financial or like our Facebook page. We would love to have the opportunity to earn your business.
Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC.
Southeast Tennessee's choice for home oxygen and medical equipment is Archer's Total Home Health Care. Archer's also provides CPAPs, BiPAPs, masks, and supplies. So the next time you need home medical equipment, ask for the professionals with the knowledge, experience, and the area's most complete line of home medical equipment services. Ask for Archer's or call them at 423-337-5812. Archer's, Southeast Tennessee's choice for healthcare needs.
This is Jenny Seiler at Paramount Insurance. People often ask me why they should purchase insurance from a local agent rather than online. Actually, there are many benefits. First, at Paramount, we can do the work for you to find the best value and coverage from many companies. Second, we can discuss and address your specific needs rather than selling you a cookie-cutter policy. Most importantly, should you need any help or service, we are right here in Sweetwater and easy to get in touch with. Call us today at Paramount Insurance and let us help you.
For nearly 50 years, Volunteer Federal has been providing banking services to our friends, our family, and our neighbors. But not all our customers started out that way. Some were complete strangers when they first visited our bank. We believe banking should be about people, personal relationships, and community. It's why our customers are more than account numbers. They turn into friends. Volunteer Federal, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
When it comes to protecting yourself and your family, let Self-Defense Solutions keep you safe. They offer the Enhanced Carry Class the second Saturday of the month and the Concealed Carry Class the fourth Saturday of the month. And they have a great selection of new and used guns available and now offer 90 days same as cash. They have ammo in stock. And you'll find reasonable gun repairs from a licensed gunsmith. Self-Defense Solutions is located at 4120 Highway 411 in Madisonville. Their current business hours are Tuesday through Saturday, 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Give them a call at 423-442-7486.
Those of you watching on Facebook had a bit of issue. You should have been able to hear our advertisers there through that, but you were still picking these guys up yelling at each other. No, we're kidding. They weren't. It was all cordial. But so I want to thank our sponsors one more time: Archer's Total Home Health Care, Fairweather Financial, Paramount Insurance Services, Self-Defense Solutions, Valley Insurance, and Volunteer Federal Bank. Go do business with those fine sponsors. We're back here. And we'll do 2 or 3 more questions in this county commission forum. Monroe County, 1st District County Commission candidates in the primary. And we talked extensively about budget and spending, Tommy. And so now we've got kind of some quick hitters on some areas that we're hearing around the county here from time to time that people want, or some people want and desire spending in some areas. So go ahead.
We're going to take a look at school funding. Obviously, the federal government, particularly the state government, puts in a large percentage of the money. But as far as local funds, I know the school board comes to you. Is there a particular area where you would like to see school funding increased? And if you didn't raise taxes for it, where would you propose to take away from? And I think DJ is up next
Yes.
with a question.
Yeah, and we'll do. Let's do 30 seconds. Make these quick hitters, okay?
Okay. I think as far as funding, we need to look at buildings. We need to look at the replacement of buildings, size of buildings. We talk about Red Stag coming in, bringing 3,500 jobs. They're going to bring 1,000 children with them. Our class sizes are already pretty large and pretty tight. 1,000 kids are only going to, cause trouble on the system. So we need to look at, some infrastructure and things like that for our schools, and we need to look at getting that debt paid off.
Okay. Go ahead and hit that question again.
I'll hit that question again. As far as the local school funding, where would you like to see maybe funding increased for local schools? And if you're not wanting to increase the budget overall, where would you take away from in local school funding to make that happen?
Well, that lays with the school board. They make the decision for the schools. Then we have to okay it. And the problem that I have is we have so many budget amendments every month from the school board. And I mean, there's no way you can keep up with them when you got 5 or 6 pages of, but the kids are the number one priority in this county today.
All right, right back around here, Joe Anderson talking about school funding.
School funding should be spent on recruiting of excellent teachers. And if you have excellent teachers, you're going to produce a product of a great next generation. And I think if you staff the schools with great teachers and continue as they retire out, that's one area that we need to really focus on, as well as infrastructure, as we talked about earlier tonight.
Okay, Chase Nipper, same question, 30 seconds.
All right, thank you. So 3 areas: infrastructure, great teachers, curriculum. We can look at those areas. I think, like they said a moment ago, it's exactly right. School board, at the end of the day, makes the final decision. But we're helping actually allocate those funds. Again, I think that we have to be collaborative. We work with the school board to push that direction. We do have aging infrastructure. We need to look at continue to maintain that, improve it. We need to attract great teachers with good salaries, and we need to make sure our curriculum is exceeding state expectations, so we have a generation that's prepared to meet the world.
Travis Wade.
I would say also, just infrastructure, making sure our buildings, we have some of the best buildings. Our teachers, one thing I hear around our communities is, making sure we have the best teachers, make sure we have the best staff, make sure they're paid well, that they're not running off to other counties and stuff like that, because we need them right here. That's really important. That's where everything starts, is with our kids. So,
all right, Danny Isbell.
Well, school or our education is very important to me because, one, my wife is a teacher, but secondly, I served on the Monroe County Board of Education for 4 years, and I've dealt with a lot of what everybody has talked about tonight. I feel, though, we need to give the teachers as much help as we can give them. They're overworked. Oh, you're going to say they got the summer off. No, they don't. They work every summer.
Adam Reynolds.
So the first part of that question would be curriculum and the teachers to help lead that curriculum. There are countless industries we have lost trying to recruit to this county because of that lack of curriculum, and that all starts with investing in those teachers. To answer the other part of the question, what would you do to consolidate? I think consolidation of some of the schools and some of the departments would help increase their budget, so they would be able to return that back to the teachers.
Okay, now we'll go with another short, quick hitter, 30 seconds. Tommy, what's your next point?
We'll take a look at, I think we've all kind of witnessing it, population growth. We see the U-Haul ratings where Tennessee's gaining, everybody else seems to be losing.
Luke Bride will start this one.
What challenges do you see coming from population growth here, and what does the county need to do to meet them?
Well, number one on the population growth in Monroe County is it's not as much as the other counties around us. And on the the industrial, we have to have people to run these plants and stuff, because that's where our major revenue comes from.
Okay. And we'll go back here to Joe. Do you want to ask the question one more time?
Sure. What challenges do you see coming from, and there's benefits too, obviously, but what challenges do you see coming from the population growth? We've had it already. We've touched on this. Red Stag's coming. What do you think the county needs to do to address that? Infrastructure or?
It's definitely going to be infrastructure. It's going to be attracting other industries to increase revenues to in different sectors of the economy, builders coming in building new homes, whatever it may be to support, because these people coming in have to have a place to live. And that's going to build your tax base. And it's also going on your economic development part of it. In these different sectors, you will have different tax bases that you will also be collecting from.
Okay. Chase Nipper, 30 seconds.
Thank you. Excellent question. The county is growing. Red Stag is moving in. Other businesses are looking at Monroe County. We've seen a flight from around the country as we see populations move toward the southeast. Tennessee's been impacted by that. Monroe County's being impacted by that. We have to ensure that we're planning to have infrastructure grow in lockstep with our population growth. That affects schools, police, ambulances, roads, water, internet services, you name it, it's being affected. 40 homes were just built in Ridgeland Farms right down from Red Stag in the past year, and they're going to continue to build. Is our county prepared? We didn't make it so.
Travis Wade.
I think, we're going to have a lot of people moving in here for the jobs. I see other factories in different other locations. They're shipping people in by buses, and we're going to have, a lot of restaurants, a lot of other shopping centers. We're going to have housing for all these people. Bringing in, like they said, their kids. There's going to be a lot of that coming in. That's something I would say is just a lot of housing and stuff like that.
Danny Isbell.
We got a plan for the future. We got a plan for now. All of it. Schools, law enforcement, healthcare. It's all going to be burdened with the population increase, especially with the new industries that's coming in. So it's going to be an overall system that we're going to have to look at, not just one particular thing.
Adam Reynolds.
Every one of these gentlemen have said the obvious: infrastructure, emergency services, roads, everything that you consider when you live into a community. Excuse me. But I'm going to say that the number one issue where it starts at is at the county commission level, at the budget level. If we continue to tax ourselves out of competition, then those industries are not going to move into this area. Those residents aren't going to move into this area. So I think it starts right here with us and the budget process.
DJ Seiler talking housing.
As everybody said, I agree with what Adam just said. We've hit on all the major issues and then some. Everything that this growth is going to bring is going to impact everything from homes to essential services to roads. We don't have enough restaurants for our current residents, and so we're going to need to attract new businesses, new things. Our children need stuff to do. We need to start working as a county commission and looking at building public and private things to build new parks, new things, taking that load off of government and attracting new businesses and new industry to the area.
All right, so then we'll come back around, and I'm going to a couple things here, couple our conversation before the break, and then what we're talking about here. Talking about, all of you mentioned in some form or fashion, infrastructure, needing to improve infrastructure. In the earlier before the break, Joe, I know you mentioned, maybe somebody else mentioned, that right now the road department, with inflation, and right now I'm hearing they don't have enough money to do what they need to do even now. So roads is obviously a big part of infrastructure. So how do you right now, as a commissioner, tomorrow, couple that together and improve infrastructure without raising taxes or cutting something? How do you couple that together and make that happen in the time frame that it needs to happen?
Excellent question. Well, I'm asking myself that question last night when I was looking at their budget. And so one of the things that we're going to have to look at is how we distribute and disseminate what those departments are actually doing, and making sure that they are a tight organization within that department. As far as roads, I mean, we're going to have to make some tough decisions about which roads we may have to cut back for a year or two until oil prices come down. So, I mean, there's things that we were going to have to look at in a different perspective.
And I failed to mention 30 seconds. You did a fine job meeting that time. So Chase Nipper, 30 seconds to talk about how to couple that together. Infrastructure needs, as well as we're already don't have the proper funding levels for roads right now.
That's exactly right. Thank you for the question. So we're facing that challenge. Everyone has spoken to it. We're going to continue to face it head on. So when it comes to roads, we're seeing inflation affect the price of asphalt. Everyone's road is vital. If you live on a street, and we all do, you think your street's vital, and of course it is. But you asked earlier, are we willing to make hard decisions? Sometimes that means collaborating with the superintendent of highways about prioritizing roads that affect large populations and businesses that continue to add revenue to this county to pay for said roads. So we have to prioritize those things and move forward.
Travis Wade?
I mean, I was just talking to some people last week. They were saying that the prices of the oil go up every day for our roads, and it's a major issue. A road is essential for everything. Getting us in and out of here for our police, EMS, fire, taking your kids to school. You know, it'd be another thing. You just have to really watch that budget and see where you can, you know, make some different costs to make sure that our roads are getting paved. I mean, that's one of the biggest complaints I hear from a lot of people.
Danny Isbell.
I'm going to make some folks mad, I guess. It seems like every time election comes around, there's roads in this county that have not been touched in 20 years suddenly get a fresh, new topping of asphalt. I think we need to prioritize where we are going to and take the politics out of it. And it's there.
Adam Reynolds.
You know, I think the superintendent does a great job. The superintendent of roads, that is, does a great job of prioritizing roads. You know, we looked at a document last night. Some roads in this county have not been asphalted or seal coated since 1997. 25 years, which is an astronomical, you know, number when you look at that. To put that into perspective, it's $120,000 in today's money to pave 1 mile of road. It was $100,000 this time last year. So it's a priority issue from the onset. We have almost 800 miles of county-provided roads. It is a big issue that we have to face.
DJ Seiler.
800 miles of road, and we only do 40 miles a year. But what we need to do is prioritize those better. We need to look at the main arteries. We need to look at the main roads, the things that are going to get those crews in and out, the traffic in and out, and the people that are coming to spend money in our area in and out. We need to work on those first and prioritize. As you said, it's probably going to make some people mad, but if you don't have money, you got to shift and do what's needed first, and then do what you can after you get more money.
All right, Luke Bright to finish this round up.
Well, my road was done in 1997, and it needs attention, but I'm willing to give up that attention to stop the taxes of having to increase the taxes to do the roads.
All right. And we have one more topical question that Tommy, what did I say? Tony.
You can call me
Appreciate
Ray,
Tony Cox's help tonight, too, if he's still listening. He helped us earlier. Tommy has one more topical question we'll get to, and then we'll have a time for closing remarks from each candidate. So, Tommy, go ahead with that question.
I believe it's Chase up next.
Chase is up next, yes.
All righty. A lot of times when we're out in public, we hear about the jail. People drive by and see the jail. Obviously, you get a recommendation and a budget from the sheriff on how to run it. But you as a county commissioner, is there anything as far as running that jail more efficiently? Is there anything you think can be done or should be done to handle that expense?
30 seconds.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for the question. So I was a deputy for nearly 5 years for Monroe County. I saw daily how money could be better spent, the way things are responded to. I can't speak for the sheriff. He's a constitutional office holder, so we don't direct the way he runs his office. We allocate funds. But like I've said before, and I think we all agree, we can collaborate with department heads. We have to work together. We're on the same team, ultimately. So are there ways that we could prioritize responses or change responses? Many counties, for example, have tele-response for crimes that are not in progress that are low level.
Travis Wade.
That's the number one thing I hear too. Also, is just a lot about the jail where we're spending our money. It needs a better budget out there, I really can't respond on much about the officers and stuff like that. But coming from an ambulance background, I mean, there's always ways to turn money and save money on the budget out there.
Okay, Danny Isbell.
Well, also, I've been law enforcement experience, 5 years with the Sheriff's Department back in the 80s when we had 14 officers for the whole county. And now then I think we have well over 100, at least that's what I've been told. We have to prioritize where they are going, the vehicles they're driving. Everybody can't get a brand new car every year. We need to do it in-house. Thank you.
Adam Reynolds talking about the jail.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think Mr. Nipper, made the comment. The sheriff is a constitutional office, and I've said that about every office holder. They do a great job managing the budget that they have, but there is always room for improvements. That's across every efficiency. You can look in your own pocket. So when you look at across a department spending, $9 million, there's room for efficiencies and there's room for improvements. But overall, that's a department issue, and we're there to support them with the issues that come available or come up.
DJ Seiler.
I agree with what Adam just said. I think that's a good question for the sheriff when you meet in his forum, and I'd like to see what he has to say. As with all everybody said, every department should be looked at and can be looked at. I think the problems we have with the jail came long before the jail came here. I think it is being run efficiently. I think there's a lot of the good things being done there. I think where the money was wasted and how it was built, where it was built, and some of those things. And again, that 5 and 10 year strategic plan will solve those problems.
Luke Bright.
Well, when the jail was built, it was supposed to be top of the line, first class, and we could operate it with less people. And the way it's turned out, it's more people every year they got to have in the jail. And we've got to have a manager in the sheriff's office to get the spending under control in the jail.
All right, that wraps up our topical questions tonight, and so I'll encourage you guys, the candidates sitting here before us, you have an opportunity here. We hope several people are watching on Facebook. We hope that several people are listening on both of our stations tonight. So I know a lot of campaigning is trying to get before people and explain to them why you would do the job better than anyone else. So, for our final question tonight, I will give you a minute, each candidate, to tell the voters why you are the best candidate for the job. And so, we're back to Travis, I believe, to lead this off. Travis Wade, lead this off. You got a minute. Why are you the best candidate for the job? 1 minute.
Good.
You're fine. Everybody's let off a question, so it didn't really matter at this point anyway.
I just think I'd make a great commissioner. I think, in my mind, a great commissioner is somebody that goes out and has boots on the ground. They understand things. They're watching everything. I know they deal with a lot of budget. They got their hands tied on a lot of things, as Joe said, but I just think that, you need to be out there in the departments. If you don't understand something, you need to be communicating with everybody that you can, making sure EMS, police, and fire are huge. Support those in our school systems. I mean, those essential things are massively important to me. That's what I stand on. That's what I'm running on, to make sure those things are guarded and protected with everything that I can do.
All right, Danny Isbell, 1 minute.
I feel like that after 40 years in law enforcement and public service, not just law enforcement, I have an understanding of, and I've been able to sit down and listen to people. I had to over the last 35 years as a probation officer, and to that you have to listen, and you've got to figure out where you're going and how you're going to get there, and I think I can do that.
Okay, Adam Reynolds.
First, I want to say it's an honor to serve the community here in Sweetwater, my hometown, and would appreciate the opportunity to serve for the next 4 years. Since I have been elected to the county commission, we have started that process. It's not an overnight process, and And anyone, I would argue, that can tell you that these problems can be fixed today. They can't be. We have started the process. Since my time on the board, we have established a 5-year committee. I serve on that committee, so we're planning for those things down the road. We have seen a budget surplus, and we allocated that to a capital expense. First time in the history of the county that we actually have a savings account for the county. I think a commissioner, and I think that it needs to be involved, needs to be invested, needs to be ingrained in this community, and I certainly feel that I try to fill that. And again, it's an honor to serve, and I would appreciate the opportunity to serve for the next 4 years. Thank you.
DJ Seiler, why are you the best candidate for the job?
I'm certainly a gentleman that will give every bit of his time and effort to making this community better. I chose to live here because of the values that are here, the lower taxes, the services that we've grown to enjoy, and I think that my years in public administration will give me a big benefit in helping look through these budgets and finding out ways to cut money. I think my history with fire and EMS gives me an understanding of essential services and those things that need to be done. I think that again, my full-time effort is going to be given to the community because I want to leave this place a better place than what I found it, and I hope the citizens agree.
Luke Bright.
And what was the question?
Why are you the best candidate for the job? You got 1 minute.
Well, I will not say that I'm the best candidate, but I'm the candidate for the taxpayers of this county, and I promised them 2 years ago that I would not vote to raise taxes as long as I'm on the commission, and I fought very hard, and I've made a lot of people mad, but we've just got to get down to reality, and we can't spend more money than we take in, and that's it, and I just ask the people to vote for me, and I'll continue to do the same thing. They say I'm too conservative now. I didn't know you could be too conservative, but now that's what people are saying. And I just appreciate everybody's vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe Anderson.
One of the things I bring to the table is financial knowledge and financial management, and that's one of the things that, as a county commissioner, that's one of the most important things that you bring to the table. And understanding the community needs and understanding and being a part of the community on different boards and being involved with different resources that are being put out there, that is one of the most important things that you can be and do for the community, and giving of your time, and not just to the county but also these private nonprofits and different things I'm involved with. So there's lots of things I'm involved with, especially with the hospital and other issues that come to mind, but I'm here for the community, and it's been a pleasure serving for the last 4 years, and I hope to continue to do so. Thank you.
Chase Nipper.
Thank you very much. Honored to be here tonight. So, people, not party. I have laid out my intentions. I want to fight for civil service. I don't want political parties to control our rank and file workers. Our people serving in government roles should be hired, promoted, and disciplined based off performance and merit alone. So I'm passionate about that, serving the people, to provide the best services possible for the county. That directly ties into the budget. That directly ties into the services we've been talking about. These things come in a package. So I'm conservative about that, and I'm passionate about that. I also want to say that we have the duty to pray for everyone on the commission and to all of our leaders and for each of us, so that if elected and those who continue to serve can be wise about their decisions and make the decisions for the right reasons, owning the outcome and not putting personal gain ahead of public accountability and public improvement.
Did everybody get to answer that one? All right. So one thing, I'll be completely fair. Luke, earlier I forgot to give you the follow-up 30 seconds, and it was you pretty well just answered it in your closing remarks. And it's, are you willing to make the hard decisions that might make people upset? And you just basically said you are. So I'll give you 30 seconds anyway.
That is a fact. You can go back and look at all the county commission meetings. And a lot of times I could have voted yes along with everybody else. But when I felt in my heart that it was not right to vote, I voted against it, knowing that I was going to make people mad. But that's what it takes, is a good, strong leadership in order to get the taxes under control in this county.
All right, thank you. And that's going to end it tonight. An hour and 15 minutes, I think, is plenty. I think we covered quite a few things. And, again, I appreciate you guys for being here tonight. I thank you for your willingness to serve, and good luck to each of you in your campaign. Early voting begins just a few days, April the 13th, and we'll go through April the 28th, and then the primary election day will be on May 3rd. I want to thank our sponsors again tonight who have made this broadcast possible: Archer's Total Home Health Care, Fairweather Financial, Paramount Insurance, Self-Defense Solutions, Valley Insurance, and Volunteer Federal Bank. I also want to thank to all the folks who helped me tonight, Tony Cox behind the scenes helping us, Mark Latham helping with our camera work tonight, Amanda Birchfield being our timekeeper, Fargo back here running master controls, the radio station, and, of course, my co-moderator, Tommy Millsaps. And, again, thank all of our candidates. Thank our listeners as well tonight. I'm Brian Birchfield saying good night, everybody.